Hi, Mason Middle School and Pierce Middle School. It's Mrs. Shanahan here again. I am here with a former Mason student, Austin Hill, and he is a tattoo artist.
I am.
Yeah. And how did you get into being a tattoo artist?
I got into it because I really always thought that art was cool. I liked art, and I thought it'd be cool to work at a tattoo shop when I was in college.
Okay.
And sometimes you stick with your job and see where that leads you after trying to go the normal route, and then you take a left-hand turn and it works out great.
And it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does your typical day look like?
I get to sleep in until about 9:30. The work day starts at like 11 a.m., usually 11 or noon. And you get to talk to some really amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
You get to help out people. You help them grieve. You help them celebrate. You help them. Any emotion that they can go through, you're there for them for it through art and through putting it on them to where they're going to get to enjoy it forever
For the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It's amazing.
Right.
But it's a great responsibility too.
And you get that feedback right there.
Right then and there. Right then and there. They get up after freshly getting it and look at it, and you see them go through a series of
Emotions.
awesome emotions. It's a cool thing to get to experience and get to be a part of.
That's cool. That is really cool. Have you had people influence you with your skills throughout the years?
Yeah, very much so. The people I have to thank for giving me the opportunities that I've gotten are, the former owners of American Pride Tattoos, Steve and Jennifer, and they gave me my opportunity, just when I needed a job for, gas money to get back and forth from college. And it just stayed. You were loyal, and you got more opportunity out of it, which is a really, really, really important thing that I don't think a lot of people have utilized enough is loyalty.
Right.
Stick with what you love, be loyal with it, be loyal to the right people, and you'll be successful.
You'll be successful, yeah. That loyalty is big. What has been the most difficult thing about this job?
When you first start out, you're really nervous because you don't want to mess anything up. You don't want to mess anybody up. You don't want to put something bad on somebody, and you don't want anybody to be unhappy with it.
Right.
That's why you go through hopefully the training that you need and you should go through, going the right avenues to do it, and having people that know what they're doing, teaching you and guiding you through it. But once you get used to the technical side and the fundamentals, it's the hard part is just the emotion part. If someone's grieving, that's you're going through it with them the entire process. It's rewarding, very rewarding to get to help somebody that way, but it's also the part of the hard part of it.
Right.
But it's all part of the good part.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of hard. It's not physically hard, it's mentally hard.
And sometimes that's a lot more draining than the
Very
physical piece to it. What has been your longest tattoo? Like that took the longest?
The longest tattoo that I did from start to finish, because there's some walking around out there that are still unfinished, that we have lots of hours still to go, and we've already got lots of hours in. But the longest one sitting tattoo that I've ever done was about 11 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a big character from Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
On a really good client of mine's leg. So if anybody's ever seen Dragon Ball Z and they know who Vegeta is, it was a big Vegeta that was, about that big, full color.
Okay. All right. Because kids are going to ask this. I noticed you have a lot of tattoos. What is your favorite tattoo that's on you?
Well, I'm a huge nerd.
Okay.
So I have a few nerdy tattoos on me.
Okay.
This is probably not as popular with, kids now, but I have a big Walking Dead tattoo on my leg.
Okay.
And I'm always a villains guy. I love superheroes and anything that has to do with villains. With that kind of fantasy stuff, I love. So I have a giant Negan tattoo on my leg.
Okay.
If I knew I was going to be asked about it, I would have lotioned it up so my leg wasn't so dry and ashy looking to show it off. But it is right here, and it is a little bit dry.
Oh wow, yeah.
But yeah, that's probably my favorite tattoo.
Okay. Now,
Cool.
where do you get your inspirations from? Like if somebody comes in and says, I want a tattoo, but I don't sure what I want, where do you get your inspirations from?
Well, if they're not sure what they want, that's hard to
Determine.
tell them what they want,
Right,
because
right.
I don't want you to listen to me and then regret listening to me 2 weeks later. So
Right.
I always try to pull their ideas from them if they're not sure.
Okay.
So I'll just sit there and have a normal conversation with them without them realizing I'm trying to get ideas just from talking to them.
Right.
To see what they're into, what they're not into, and see which directions we can take it. But most of the time these days, everybody has somewhat of an
Some
idea or a whole plethora of things saved on their phone that
Right.
they get ideas from. But that's typically where I get inspired from, is from the person who wants a tattoo.
Okay.
And then we can go over how they, what style they want it in. If they want it, just even as simple as color, black and gray, and then everything else that falls underneath that umbrella.
Okay. You talked about earlier about training. What kind of training did you have to have?
So the training it's typically an apprenticeship. That's what I would highly recommend. For that. That's finding somebody that you like, that knows what they're doing, and that's willing to teach you. There's people out there that aren't willing to teach you, but are really good and should be teaching. And there's people that are out there teaching that have no business teaching at all when it comes to tattooing. So it's really just finding that good mix of. It's always a good idea if you've been tattooed by them as well. At that point, or talking to them if you're interested. Just stop in, get their vibes, get their feels on and thoughts on if they are wanting to teach somebody, needing to teach somebody, if they're interested in teaching you, and if that's the route you want to go, then that person will kind of go over what they expect and require, and kind of what you'll are to expect with an apprenticeship, which there's a multitude of expectations throughout an apprenticeship, and they're usually about a year to too long for the right ones. I'm not going to say there's no schooling out there, like actual schooling for it, where I do know that there's some things in the works as far as a legitimized school that I would back up and say is a good idea. But anything that's from today's date and prior that was considered a tattoo school was terrible, and it was really just a money grab to get you to tattoo some stuff for 2 weeks and then take a bunch of money from you. You cannot learn to tattoo in 2 weeks.
No, I would think it's a constant change of skills.
It's a step process, and it's all based on you. So you'll plateau at a certain point, and then all of a sudden it's like a little light switch gets flipped on, and you're ready for the next step. And then from there, it's just a progression of technicality.
Okay, got it.
But it's art. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And your art. I don't remember, I'm thinking back, guys, Mrs. Shanahan was really, really young when she had Mr. Hill here. And I can't remember the art piece too. He was a practical joker. He liked to make us all laugh, okay? But I'm trying to go back to the art piece. When did you get into art?
I was into art when I was young.
Okay.
And then I reached a certain age in elementary school where it was sports.
Right. Right.
So the artistic side was still there.
Okay.
I didn't even really get back in tune with that until high school.
Okay.
And that wasn't even through the traditional art classrooms.
Okay.
I got back into the creativity part of that through the video production room.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I got my first tattoo that I really thought that, God, that'd be really a fun, cool job.
Right.
And then once I started working there, just needing my gas money for college.
Right.
I didn't get to see how the whole industry worked. And then I fell in love with it even more. So it's a lot about art. It's, in my opinion, even more about being creative, and having a really good imagination and being able to take criticism, and be coachable.
Right.
So all the things that I was into when I was younger did help me for where I am
Right.
today.
And you brought up the word coachable.
Yep,
You had to listen to a coach growing up.
because if you don't and you give constant resistance, then you will get really toxic. You'll go off in your own direction, and it'll most likely won't be the direction that the professional would want you to take as far as what you're technically able to do on somebody.
Right.
So
And that's,
it's hard, but stick with it, and it's so worth it.
yeah. What would it be your advice to any middle school student right now regarding careers?
Well, I remember the career thing when I was there, and back then I remember I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I just thought what would be cool and fun and possibly pay well, and that was being a DJ on the radio. It was cool,
Yeah.
and doing the research behind it was fun. But just follow what you want, follow what you know.
Your passion.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of different ways that you can put your passion with different things. I almost became a teacher. I almost wanted to go to college and become a teacher so I could coach sports for the football or basketball, whatever. Probably would have thrown some track in there too, but it just you stuck with one thing, and then you didn't. You kind of lost interest, and then you tried another thing, which then I tried the Fire Academy, which I absolutely loved. But then kind of grew apart from that, and the whole time the one constant was art and the tattoo industry. This piercing, piercing's an art. Tattooing's an art. Everything in here has some sort of artistry to it. Even as simple as mopping the floor. There's an artistry to mopping the floor the right way. It's all interesting. So.
And what I heard was I tried other things, but I kept coming back to this. And the other thing I heard is Austin was picking things that there was a human connection. If you think teacher, that's a human connection. A firefighter is a human connection. A tattoo artist, believe it or not, is a human connection because you're having multiple conversations with one person during one sitting or multiple sittings. So you're getting to know people. So he really likes that human connection.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that's
Getting to develop, and with tattooing, getting to develop a relationship with a repeat client.
yes.
It's different than if you were just helping somebody as a firefighter or an ambulance EMT paramedic, where you might talk to them as you're assessing them and helping them out that way, but you get to know the person a lot more here in this chair, and for whatever reason it is, it's usually in some way, shape, or form helping that person emotionally in a good way or a helpful way. It's you grow with that person over time, and it's really, really cool. Most people you never see again, but those handful that keep coming back, and all of a sudden they're getting married and you're getting invitations to the wedding. I mean, it's just a cool process to be a part of all the way around.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much for taking this time.
Thank you for coming
I
out.
am so excited to be able to see you again.
It's been
I
great.
love interviewing my old students. So it was great to see you, and I'm glad that we had to have this time to spend together.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right.